I kind of enjoyed talking about the movie last time. So the last movie I watched was Zootopia. And again, this will be full of spoilers. This is more a discussion of the movie than a review. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the movie. I don't care about spoilers, so if you do, stop watching right now. But Zootopia, it's a movie about what that mammals evolved, uh, to be anamorphic. Uh, and it starts out with a children's play explaining how there was predators and prey, and you know at one time the predators kept the prey living in fear, but as time went on they became civilized, and now predators and prey live together in harmony. And this movie talks about, well, it's not even thinly veiled, but it talks about like racism or isms. You can't really say racism because it wasn't really a race. It was predators and prey, and all the different animals uh, were very stereotypical of what you would think the animals were. The lemmings all followed each other. Everyone couldn't believe it. In fact, she was the first rabbit cop because rabbits are meek and small, and they don't make police officers. And you know, of course, the lion was the leader. He was the mayor of the town. So the animals were kind of stereotypical of what you would think the animals were. And I always read trivia on the movie, so I love IMDb, and whenever I watch a movie, I pull up the trivia. And in the trivia states that they wanted this to be about prey and predators, so they did not include any reptiles, fish, or birds. You won't see anything like that in this movie, and which I thought was kind of interesting. And then they didn't want a human something representing humans. So there's no apes, there's no monkeys. It's just pretty much your four-legged mammals. And in the movie, the predators, well, there's some incidents where predators went crazy, and the mayor caught them and locked them up, and of course that leads to a big misunderstanding that the mayor was behind it all. But yeah, they were afraid that predators were, becoming, well, more like predators, that they were going to attack. And, they come right out and say, the city is 90% prey and 10% predators, and the 10% predators is going to ruin the city for the 90% prey. So in that respect, I mean, it was really, like I said, it wasn't even thinly veiled. It was just like racism. There was the minority and the minority was the one threatening the majority, and so unease developed. People started to see the prey, and they would start to see the predators as threats, and it kind of created a divide. And at one point, the rabbit makes friends with a fox, and of course a fox is a predator and a rabbit is a prey. And at one point, they're arguing, and she's like, "No, I don't think of you the same way I think of them." And he's like, that's the whole point of racism, is you think of an us and them. And that's exactly what she pointed out. And the fox says, "Oh, now there's a them," and she's like, "No, I didn't mean it that way." And but just the mere thinking that there's an us and a them, I mean, that's the basis of racism. And, until we can think that's just us, which may never happen in my lifetime, but that we are one race, basically. If you talk to an anthropologist or whatever, they'll tell you that humans are one race, and there's no us and them. And that's what the fox said right out. He says, "Oh, now there's a them," and I'm not like them. And just your thinking, and it just kind of threw it in your face. And that moment was just like, whoa, And so it does talk about that, and how they kept the peace, and overall, even though that was kind of a deep tone, that was kind of handled well. And the movie had some, I mean, I love giraffes, and some of the scenes with giraffes were just hilarious. The giraffes and the hippos. literally it was like 2 seconds where they showed giraffes and hippos playing volleyball, and I thought that was one of the funniest things I saw. And there is a scene where there's a naturalist club, and there's always layers in cartoons where there's layers for adults and there's layers for kids, and they're in this naturalist uh, place where the animals don't wear clothes, and it's basically a nudist club. And it's so funny because the rabbit is standing in front of, first the yak stands up and he stretches and she's like, oh my God, you're naked. And they show him standing there. And instead of like a big penis hanging out, it's drawn like a Disney character. It's all smooth. There's nothing there. But he's standing, pulling his hips out while he's stretching. And she's like, oh my God, you're naked. And then there's another scene where there's a naked elephant doing yoga, and she's like lifting her leg up and like spreading her legs wide open, and the rabbit is sitting there just terrified. And you're like, as adults we know that if this was real life there'd be a big elephant vagina right there, but it's all drawn smooth, it's just like Disney. There's nothing there, and it was just hilarious. That scene alone was just, I thought it was hilarious. And there were some other scenes like that where you're like, you don't expect it, and there's some that would just flash by so fast. The little mouse in the jogging suit, that was so cute. And some things I did see coming, when they made a big deal about Mr. Big, and when they revealed who Mr. Big was, I was like, oh, I saw that coming from a mile away. But overall, I think it was a good movie. I would recommend this movie to kids and adults. I didn't really find anything wrong with the movie. I know the last movie I was like, okay, this is wrong and this is wrong, and if I was making the movie, I'd make this better. But I didn't find that in this movie. It just was really enjoyable. I don't know about the premise, Zootopia. It's weird to think of the whole world in one city, because that's basically what it was. It was one city that all the animals came together in. And you're like, okay, there's a whole world. Are there other cities? And why is Zootopia like the only city where the animals live? And again, you don't notice it. I only notice it from the trivia, but there's no alligators, there's no reptiles, there's no birds, there's no monkeys or apes, or it's just these animals, predators and prey. And I thought it handled things really well. It made, when the movie was over, it made you think, okay, they're living together, they know their past, they know that predators used to eat prey, but they're living together as a civilized world. And then some tensions arose, and they started seeing their differences, but in the end they embraced their differences. And that's kind of like the Zootopia. That's kind of the utopia that people should strive for, is, yeah, we're different, but we embrace those differences. And I'm not going to talk about race. I have my own opinions on racism and sexism and stuff, but yeah, and there was some sad moment, when the predator, who was the front desk clerk, was told to leave because he's a predator. That was, because they built him up as this nice, beautiful, cuddly character, and then, they stomp on him, and that's always sad. And I didn't see who the villain was. I told you I'd talk about spoilers, but I'm not going to spoil that part of it if you haven't seen the movie. But it was a good choice, a good way to do that, a good way to not see it coming. You'd almost, after the movie was over, in hindsight, I was thinking, now that I see it, maybe that was, but during the movie, you didn't really think that. And then the reasons given were the same reasons a human would give for inciting a race war. And, it's just, it did make me think for, a while after the movie. I'm sitting there and I'm finishing up my peanuts and just thinking, oh, that was kind of deep, for a Disney movie. Was it Disney? Was it Pixar? DreamWorks? I don't even remember. But I'm a great reviewer. But I always, and this brings me, makes me think that when I watch something, I like to think of the story. And I know that there's controversies behind certain stories. we all hear about how the Munchkins were treated during the Wizard of Oz, or we all know the history of Woody Allen. But I stay contained within the movie. I watch the characters. I don't care if this actor did this or this actor did that. I'm watching the movie and I'm watching the characters, and I don't really think about who directed or what studio it came from. I watch the movie and that's what I'm watching. That's what I care about. I don't care that these two actors are married in real life. That doesn't even concern me. I want to be entertained by a good movie, and um, that's all I think about. And I know there's a lot of times that like just now, I don't even know who made this movie. I'm pretty sure it's a Disney movie, but to me it doesn't matter. I watched the movie and I like the movie, and that really is all that matters to me. Um, but anyway, yes, I give it 4 thumbs up out of a billion. No, I give it. I haven't come up with a rating system yet, but I do recommend this movie. Go watch it. Just enjoy it for what it is, and good animation, good jokes, and you're gonna enjoy it. I'm sure you are. And that's what I have to say about the movie Zootopia.